So today we're going to be talking about a Netflix series, Korean series, Dear Hongrang. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is classifying as a historical mystery romance melodrama. And yeah, I will say that. It's a little bit also a little thriller in there. But yeah, I will say that. This is starring our male lead, Lee Jae-wook. Of course, he's coming off of Alchemy of Souls when it comes to historical dramas, right? So it's coming off of Alchemy of Souls season 1 and season 2. I did completely watch season 1, but I stopped mid of season 2. It just wasn't nothing there for me to continue to watch. I was even surprised that they even continued with a season 2. With this one, I actually pretty did like this one. Let's talk about it. You may get spoilers, so spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. You're probably going to get spoilers if you have not watched it already. But if you don't mind, you might be getting spoilers here. So let's talk about what I didn't like about it. The main thing would have been the cinematography. They do it too dark. And so there was one scene where the girl was buried, and I didn't even see it because it was so dark that you couldn't even tell what they were doing. You then afterwards they told you what happened, so you're like, oh, okay, I see what happened because they were digging through the dirt trying to get her off the dirt. That's the only part I really didn't like about it. When it did come to the cinematography, when it comes to the dark scenes, it didn't. It was hard to tell what was going on. Also, I didn't like about it was the actors and actresses are in it were very excellent, especially the older cast too. They were very excellent. But what happened was it got confusing to say who was who because the makeup director or the costume director had everybody look the same. And so it was like, okay, well, wait a minute, who is that? Is that the dad? No, is that the uncle? Who? So it's kind of hard to figure out who each person was, especially when they were filming it dark too. So that got confusing. Let's talk about what the story was about. Right, it was about a young boy who had to be at least 6 or 7. They really didn't get too much about age detail, but he had to be at least 6 or 7. He went missing, and so for 12 years, they could never find this young boy, which was Hongrang, which that's our name of the male lead. 12 years later, our Lee Jae-wook appeared saying that he is that missing 12-year-old boy. In between all that, people were coming to the father saying that they are the Hongrang, and so when they like, yeah, okay, we got to pass the test because the influence. His family was very influential, and they knew that they've been searching for this family for the past 12 years, for searching for their son for the past 12 years. So, but if you lie, of course, something's going to happen. So one person lied, and he got his hand cut off because he lied. Yeah, and then so now here we have Lee Jae-wook come in and say he is Hongrang. Now the mom was so distraught. She loved her son. So the one that went missing, the mom went distraught. For I guess for the next 12 years, she was on an opium binge until the shaman comes in and tells him, you need to clean up yourself because you're about ready to lose everything. And so the dad already had in place adopted son to take over. So the dad wanted to be his house, but the mom owned the actual house, like I'm saying, the richest. It was actually the mom who owned it, but the dad was trying to take over it. So when the son went missing, the dad could take over it and have his adopted son help take over the guild. They call him the guild. So help him take over the guild. But then that's when the shaman said, look, you need to clean up yourself before you lose everything. And so then that's when she kind of woke up and said, no, this is my house, my guild. And so in the meantime, after that, that's when Hongrang, the older Hongrang, Lee Jae-wook, shows up and confesses to be him. So that's kind of how it was going. Yes, there was back and forth trying to say if that is him. He had a stepsister or half sister who was older than him, and so she was always playing with playing with the younger Hongrang. And so she was distraught too when he went missing. When he feared, she said it's not him. So yes, you would get that where they're going to say it wasn't him. And they actually hold on to it for a minute, if it was him or not. The actual plot of the story didn't really appear until episode 4 or 5. Again, it was only 11 episodes. So the actual plot of the story, actually, you know what? The actual plot of the story actually came in around episode 10, right before it was closing. It was dealing with paintings, pictures. It was a big. We have our crown prince, who, oh my gosh, I love the actor Kim Jae Wook. He was on her private life, and he also was on Mellow movie. Even the Mellow movie wasn't the best either, but however, he was on there, and I watched it because he was on there. And then her private life was his best K drama, idol drama, romance rom com. I loved her private life with him in it. So he was the crown prince in this one. And so it was basically about paintings and pictures, and trying to uh, find out how Hongrang got kidnapped, and try to find how he can get revenge on the person who kidnapped him. So that's kind of where it was going. There was really the plot, or the whole storytelling about all this thing outside the fact that he came back missing after 12 years. There was nothing else in between all that. The direction was, the storytelling was, it was more style. It had substance. You watched it because it was Lee Jae Wook, and the actual did have the fighting scenes were really good. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you should be tired of people always trying to kill you, but that's what happened. Again, you are going to get spoilers if you have, or if you have not watched it. So yes, it did come to the fact where it wasn't the actual little boy. And so there you go. And there was a reasoning. I think there really was not much of a reasoning to why he came back as Hongrang, because technically it was because of Lee Jae Wook, the older Hongrang, mother wanted to take revenge on the father of Hongrang. But it wasn't, the plot itself had nothing to do with that really. It was just that he wanted to find out who, because he was kidnapped too when he was a little boy. So he wanted to find out who his kidnapper is. In the meantime, I guess the mom said, well, if you go here, you'll be able to find him. So by episode 10, that's when it all started to fall in place. Why was all this going on? Who was the kidnapper? What was going on? And so they did kind of bring that in. Again, the direction was pretty good and the storytelling was pretty good, but it was still a lot more styled and like maybe half or 80% substance with it. That's the reason why I still enjoyed watching it, because it was still entertaining to watch. So tell me, what did you think? Did you watch Hongrang, dear Hongrang? Leave a comment. I thank you for all my subscribers. I appreciate it. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscription button, hit the like button, and I appreciate it. Media adjourned.